Hello. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how we can take the chords we all know and love from the CAGED system and transition those into bar chords, and in doing so, be able to play major and minor chords all across the fretboard. Cool stuff. Let's dive in. All right, so we're going to assume you already know the CAGED chords. So we'll have our C open chord, our A major, A minor, G, E major, E minor, D major, D minor. So by now you should know those shapes, obviously. So the K system is great, but what about if we're playing a song that has a G sharp major chord? That's not on the K system, so what do we do? So the way we can tackle this is we can think that G sharp is a half step above G. And remember that on the guitar fretboard, the frets are divided in half steps, meaning that if I go up a fret, I'm going up a half step. If I go down, I'm going down a half step. So since we know that G sharp is a half step higher than G, that means that to play a G sharp, what I could do is I could start on G, but then shift all the notes up one fret, which is make them up a half step, and then I can play this chord. But as you notice, it sounds terrible. Why is that? Well, it's not because I'm a bad player. You could argue I am. Just kidding. It's not because I'm a bad player. It's because the open strings, the D and G strings here, when I moved from here to here, the open strings didn't move up a half step. So one way to tackle this that people do is they have a capo, right? And so you could put this capo on fret 1, all of a sudden, now you've moved the open strings up a half step. So now when I play my G major shape here with my middle finger on 4th fret, now I got G sharp major. But what if I told you that you don't really need to have a capo to play any of these chords on the fretboard? What we're going to do is we're going to take our index finger and we're going to make this our makeshift capo by barring it. So what do I mean by this? So my chair moved, that's weird. All right, so let's start with, let's do an E minor chord, so the open E minor chord. So now I want you to refinger this, so your ring finger goes on 2nd fret A, and your pinky goes on 2nd fret the D string. So same notes, just putting different fingers on there. Alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these notes, our hand, and we're going to shift it all up a fret. So now, instead of using a capo on the 1st fret, we're going to make our index finger a capo. So we're going to put this right here. We're going to bar our index finger across the 1st fret as like our makeshift capo. And in doing so, we're now able to play an F minor chord. And bar technique is pretty hard, so I'll probably do a separate video about the bar technique itself. In this video, I just want to talk about like the theory and the concepts, I guess. So now this shape you can move all across the fretboard. So all we're doing is we're taking our index finger and we're going to pretend it's a capo, and we're just going to start here and now go up here, so on and so forth. And you can do this with every single chord in the CAGED system. So for example, I'm going to play an A minor chord, and the finger is going to be ring finger, 2nd fret D, pinky finger, 2nd fret G, middle finger, first fret B, and then open A and E strings. So if I want to play an A sharp chord, what I do is I shift up 1 fret, then I take my index finger, bar it across the first fret like this, and then play the same strings. Now I've got A sharp or B flat minor. I can keep going up, all up and down the fretboard. Again, if I want to take, let's say, a D minor, I refinger it so that my index finger is free. So this fingering, then I move up a fret, keep going up. So in the comments you can, for homework you can work on doing the same thing, but for the other shapes like G major, and keep going up and down the fretboard.